A speech by His Excellency, the President of World Youth Organization, Right Honorable Comrade Unwana made in order to commemorate the 2020 International Youth Day celebration with the theme titled Youth Engagement for Global Action. Fellow youths all over the world, permit me to felicitate with you all on this year's International Youth Day celebration with the theme titled Youth Engagement for Global Action. It gives me a great sense of pleasure, not just as an individual youth, but as the President of World Youth Organization, to come to terms with the fact that the entire world recognizes the existence of a day such as this, where youths all over the world are being celebrated. International days are days globally set aside for celebration because it offers the opportunity to educate the entire public on trending issues of international concern in order to mobilize political will and resources to solve global problems and to celebrate and reinforce the various achievements of humanity. I can tell you with every sense of authority and certainty that all International Day celebration predates the establishment of the United Nations. But the United Nations have come to embrace these days as a powerful advocacy tool which is yielding positive results in this 21st century. The 2020 International Youth Day celebration is very unique because it affords each and every one of us the opportunity to celebrate and deepen, most especially, the voices of young people, including their actions and inactions, as well as their deep sense of innovation, and also not forgetting their youthful, useful, international, and equitable engagements for global impact. Fellow youths all over the world, don't also forget the fact that this year's International Youth Day celebration affords us the opportunity of a new beginning, new life, new phase, with new goals, which is presenting us with better opportunities, which I believe we all are willing to explore for greatness. Youths, I must state here categorically that I recognize your importance in the political, economical, and socio-political life processes. In fact, in the words of René O, which states, and I quote, that the most authentic thing about us is our capacity to create, to transform, to endure, to love, and to be greater than all that we've been through. Fellow youths, it is a non-debatable fact that youths are the major drivers of their economies anywhere in the world. This is largely due to their deep sense of innovation, energy, determination, and commitment to passion. Fellow youths all over the world, the commencement of this year's International Youth Day celebration affords us the opportunity to take stock of where we are as common shareholders in the progress of humankind and also in the preservation of our planet. Fellow youths all over the world, I can tell you that we are at a turning point in human history. Immense and promising changes seem to wash over us every day, most especially now that the novel coronavirus is holding firm grips on nations all over the world. Fellow youths all over the world, at this juncture, permit me to report to you that the COVID-19 pandemic has resulted in harsh economic problems on nations all over the world, which is bringing all countries to its knees. Fellow youths, it may interest you to know that we as young people are most vulnerable to the destructions that the virus has caused. We all as members of World Youth Organization must unite and form a vocal point. We all as members of World Youth Organization must form key elements in an inclusive recovery and in the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals even before 2030 as projected by the United Nations. Fellow youths all over the world, I'm glad to let you know that as your president, I understand your challenges and have done proper diagnosis of all your problems ever since I took oath of office as the president of World Youth Organization. And I can tell you with all amount of confidence that I have solutions to most, if not all, your problems. The World Program of Action for Youth, WPAY, was initially adopted by the United Nations General Assembly in 1995. And I can tell you that World Youth Organization is currently working to actualize these goals for youths on behalf of the United Nations. The World Program of Action for Youth provides a policy framework and practical guidelines for national action and international support, which will better the lives of young people all over the world. The World Program of Action for Youth covers 15 youth priority areas and contains proposals for action to be taken in each of the priority areas in order for it to be realized. The priority areas include 1. Education, 2. Employment, 3. Hunger and poverty, 4. Health, 5. Environment, 6. Substance abuse, 7. Juvenile justice, 8. Leisure time activities, 9. Girls and young women, 10. Full and effective participation of youth in the life of the society and in instrument, 11. Globalization, 12. Information and communication technology ICT, 13. HIV and AIDS, 14. Armed conflict, and 15. International issues. Fellow youths, for want of time, I won't be analyzing the priority areas one after the other in the course of this current speech presentation, but I would love to do so subsequently when the opportunity presents itself. Fellow youths all over the world, I won't fail to let you know that the implementation of the World Program of Action for Youth requires that young people enjoy all human rights and fundamental freedoms, which requires that governments take effective actions against violations of these rights and freedoms and promote non-discrimination, tolerance, respect for diversity, with full respect for various religious and ethical values, cultural background, and philosophical convictions of their young people, equal opportunity, solidarity, security, and participation of young men and women. Youths, it may interest you to know that we are currently 1.2 billion on the surface of the earth. And this accounts for well over 16% of the global population. By 2030, which is the target date for the achievement and actualization of the Sustainable Development Goals as set out by United Nations, the number of youths is projected to have grown by 7%, which will amount to a total of 1.3 billion youths on the surface of the earth. Youths all over the world. This is a huge pointer to the fact that we are not getting younger, neither are we getting smaller, despite the economic impacts of COVID-19, which is currently making the job market more challenging for youths. According to the International Labour Organization report, that in the first quarter of 2020, about 5.4% of the global working hours, which is equivalent to 155 million full-time jobs, were lost relating to the fourth quarter of 2019. Recent estimates suggest that more than 600 million jobs will have to be created over the next 15 years to meet the youth employment needs. The proportion of young people not in employment, education, or training, which has to do with the need rate, has remained relatively very high over the last 15 years. And it now stands at 30% for young women and 13% for young men worldwide. Youths all over the world, with this current development, you don't need to be encouraged by anybody to up your game in order to stay on top of your game. To all youths out there, I encourage you to have courage, because it is only courage that can make a failure to become a success. Always remember to tell yourselves that you are too loaded to fail. Youth all over the world, hear me and hear me very well. Those who are afraid of the wave cannot swim. I repeat, those who are afraid of the wave cannot swim. Meaning, if you are afraid of failing, you cannot pursue life's goals, and you might not be able to start up that business, because business has to do with you failing and rising up to move forward in line with the popular saying, forward never, backward never. Fellow youths all over the world, let me give you more reasons why you need to have courage in this life. When you watch Formula 1 car racing game, you will discover that the competitors usually are not afraid to speed, because they know speed is part of the game if you must win. They don't even mind having an accident in the course of this car racing game. Their mind is focused on the goal of winning the game and becoming champions. Youths, if you also take time to investigate, you realize that hockey players are usually not afraid of the stick hitting them, because they have already made up their mind that whatever they need to do in order to win the game is what they have to do in order to emerge victorious. Any footballer who is afraid to break his leg would never emerge a champion. The Lionel Messi, the Cristiano Ronaldo, the Okochas and the Kanuman course of this world all broke their legs in the course of playing in order for them to emerge as stars. Any boxer afraid to take a punch cannot emerge a champion. All boxers all over the world are usually punched, beaten, before they ever emerge champions. Examples of such boxers are Floyd Mayweather, Mike Tyson, Samuel Peter. They all experienced defeat at some point in their careers before they became champions. Youths, divers are not usually scared, and you can't be a pilot if they are scared of heights. A child that is afraid to fall can never walk. I repeat, a child that is afraid to fall can never walk. That child must learn to fall in order for him to walk. Astronauts who are afraid of heights cannot board a rocket to the moon. After all said and done, it is risky not to take a risk. The reason why most youths don't want to take that risk and become great is because of fear. And fear for me as your president is false evidence appearing real. And when you have a good listening ear, you can't have fear, because knowledge is power, and the absence of knowledge brings fear. I urge all youths all over the world to see beyond life's obstacles and challenges, and to be innovative in thinking so as to move forward in life. Because when you give up, you can never go up. I repeat, when you give up, you can never go up. Youth, let me take out time to mention some set of individuals who had determination in life, and today they are successful. One of such is President Muhammadu Buhari. President Muhammadu Buhari is the president of Nigeria. But before becoming president, he contested elections 3 times and failed. And at the 4th trial, he became the president of Nigeria. Abraham Lincoln failed many times, but at the end, he still made it as the president of the United States of America. Failure for me is only an experience. So turn every negative experience to positive excellence. Fellow youths all over the world, all the fantastic ideas you have in this world, minus courage, will amount to nothing. I repeat, all the fantastic ideas you have in this world, minus courage, will amount to nothing. That is why many youths have many beautiful ideas, but they have not produced any result because they have not taken any step to actualize their ideas because they are afraid to fail. Youths, my advice to you as your president is fail and get up again. You can't make a mark in this world if you don't take the risk. I, as your president, failed elections many times before emerging as the president of World Youth Organization. Today, you can see the fruits. I'm the #1 youth citizen in the entire world, controlling and championing the affairs of over 1.2 billion youths all over the world. Your mind has to be made up in order for you to go up. Youths, hear me and hear me very well. Only the brave will succeed in this life. Stop saying that the government has not given me work, but rather create work for yourself, because nothing moves unless you move. The world helps those who help themselves. Please do well to take that first step, and I assure you as your president that you will surely arrive your expected destination in less than no time. Youths all over the world, listen to the voice of your president. The future self is seeking for something, but the present self has something to do in order to attain the future self. I take it again. The future self is seeking for something, but the present self has something to do in order to attain the future self. Fellow youths, how to spot your goal is that aspect of life you have passion for. When you have fully developed yourself, you won't beg to be used. I repeat, when you fully develop yourself, you won't beg to be used. People, companies, organizations, nations, states, countries, and the world will pay heavily to use you. It is better for you to be mistaken now in order for you to be taken tomorrow. Because every setback is for a comeback for you to bounce back and become successful in life. I take that again. Every setback is for a comeback for you to bounce back and become successful in life. Fellow youths, let me say this to you, that courage is not a gift. Rather, you develop courage. That is why even God Almighty encourages us to be courageous. And lastly, for this segment, when people discourage you, you make up your mind to encourage your courage. And when this is done, you can be sure to have good success. I sincerely sympathize with the President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump, over the irreplaceable loss of his younger brother, Robert J. Trump. As the President of World Youth Organization, I pray that the soul of the departed Robert Trump rests in perfect peace. And may the Lord Almighty console the first family of the United States of America. I want to assure President Trump that if the American government, through him, sponsors my trip to the United States of America for the purpose of the burial of the departed, I will not hesitate to come to America and mourn with the good people of America over the loss of his late younger brother, Robert Trump. Accept my deepest condolences, Mr. U.S. President. Moving forward, I urge every country in the African continent to begin to produce what they consume. That is the only way they can improve the economy and break off the chains of slavery from the Western world. I urge all countries on the surface of the earth to cut the cost of governance and improve the internally generated revenue. All countries must make sacrifices so as to live where they are to where they want to be. I repeat, all countries must make sacrifices so as to live where they are to where they want to be. America, the greatest nation on earth, made sacrifices. China made sacrifices. Russia made sacrifices. Britain made sacrifices. Singapore made sacrifices. Even Dubai, which is rated the cleanest and the finest cities in the world, also made sacrifices. I urge every government on the surface of the earth to give youth attention, to avoid going into detention, because youths are the life wires of any country. Youths are one of the major sources of prosperity for any nation, and any country that neglects its youths cannot have resources. I repeat, any country on the surface of the earth that neglects its youth cannot have resources. Because when you neglect your source, you cannot have your resources. God Almighty has hidden great things in small things. And when great visions are not pursued, they remain unfulfilled. Youths, starting small does not mean remaining small. But rather, it is that one step you need to take from where you are to where you want to be. I urge of sovereign countries on the surface of the earth to adopt the World Programme of Action for Youth as piloted by the United Nations by ensuring that their services meet the needs of young people. It is therefore very pertinent to ensure that the voices of young people are heard in the rollout of health and non-health related issues, most especially in response to COVID-19 pandemic. The role of government as well as youth organizations will be essential to ensure that trustworthy public health information is disseminated. I must not at this juncture fail to commend millions of young people who are utilizing online technologies to spread public health information in engaging ways, such as videos to promote effective and regular hand washing or explain how social distancing can save lives in the midst of the pandemic. I sincerely believe that youth entrepreneurship can both support youth development and help accelerate the implementation of the United Nations agenda for the world. Fellow youths, it may interest you to know that one of the major visions of World Youth Organization is to help in the actualization of the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. In line with the SDGs Goal 1, which is to end poverty, World Youth Organization is planning to raise 20,000 youth entrepreneurs in the next 2 years, who eventually create more than 2 million jobs and will generate over $50 billion in additional revenue to the world's economy. World Youth Organization, through the Office of the President, intends to train, educate, build, empower, and transform youths to be global citizens of this world. I therefore call on wealthy and meaningful citizens of this world to support World Youth Organization financially and materially so that the organization can achieve its aims and objectives for the youths of the whole world. Youths all over the world, it is time to let go of the past so that you don't pass with the past. It was Abraham Lincoln who said that if you give me 6 hours to cut down a tree, I will use 4 hours to sharpen the axe. This by implication means that when preparation meets opportunity, presentation is possible. Fellow youths, it is high time we stop wandering about with no direction in life and rather turn ourselves to wonders in this world. Youths, let us rise from being victims to victors by actively participating in politics, because it is mostly through political leadership that we can affect the world positively. Youth all over the world, there is no limit except the ones you placed in your mind. Determination for me is extermination of procrastination, and that is why I love Barack Obama, the 44th President of the United States of America, because he came up with the slogan, "Yes, we can," during his campaign to be president, and it worked for him. Anytime you say I can't, you remain in the camp. I repeat, anytime you say I can't, you remain in the camp. And wherever you may come across the word impossible, please endeavor to remove either and make use of the possible, because all things are possible to all youths that believe. Youths, always try as much as possible. Try as much as possible to be at the right location for your allocation to locate you. And don't also forget that determination helps you to overcome obstacles and challenges that life throws at you. Youths, you have to leave the rest in order to become the best. And never associate with people who are lower than you if you have a big team, but rather associate with people who are higher than you so that they can drag you up to be where you want to be. Youths, endeavor not to misquote me. For people lower than you, you can help them, but not association. Associate with people who are higher than you so that they can inspire you to want to do more and become more. After all, birds of the same feather flock together. When you associate with people below you, you become low in life. Always aim at the top so that you can become a top. Check out most people who have succeeded in life. Example, the Dangotes, the Adelugans, the Atikus, the Bill Gates, the Oprah Winfrey, the Donald Trump, Vladimir Putin, President Xi Jinping, Queen Elizabeth III, Jack Ma, Mark Zuckerberg, Warren Buffett, the Paulinenses, the Oyedepo's, the Bionis, and the TB Joshua's and Cristiano Ronaldo's of this world. all those people I just mentioned don't struggle to make headlines on major news outlets all over the world. Youths, I charge you all that you should keep pursuing your vision. Endeavor to break off all ties with those who discourage you. The more information you acquire, the more inner strength, which is courage, that you possess. Ignorance will always produce failure in whatever business or sector that you venture into. Endeavor to walk in silence and let your success make the noise for you. So always go for knowledge, because when you buy books, you clothe your destiny. There is no gift of knowledge anywhere, but rather knowledge has to be acquired, because readers are leaders. Youth all over the world, do you all want to become leaders? If your answer is yes, which I naturally presume you should be, then endeavor to study. Because in the company of the blind, a man with one eye will automatically be the leader. Knowledge gives you advantage and places you. Youths, when you don't give up, success will eventually show up. Every successful man on planet Earth has faced one form of opposition or the other. So youths, if you don't face opposition, you cannot have your position. The extent to which you grow will determine how fast your challenges will go. In fact, when you grow your capacity, you will cheaply handle every form of adversity. When you are sinking, check your thinking. Youths all over the world, increase your knowledge to match the challenges that you are currently facing. Because you cannot use AK-47 rifle to defend yourself from an opposing enemy who is attacking you with a nuclear weapon. The level of knowledge you will use to run a supermarket to be successful is not the same level of knowledge that you use to run a shopping mall for it to be successful. Same thing with governance. The capacity for any individual to become a governor is not the same capacity that that same individual will use to become the president of his country, because the two offices, as mentioned above, are not on the same level and therefore requires different capacities to run both offices. Youths all over the world, you must all grow up in order not to go down. Fellow youths, let me spend a little time and talk about rape. Rape is the highest disrespect to the opposite sex. I urge all youths all over the world to shun rape and rather seek for true love with valid mutual consent of both parties, as there is no justification for rape anywhere in the world. This is due to the fact that as young men and women, we will someday be a husband to a beautiful wife, a brother to a wonderful sister, a sister to a handsome brother, a father to a girl child, and a mother to a male child. I urge all countries in the world currently at war to end the war now, or else youths all over the world will step in to restore peace by whatever means. Because without peace, development cannot thrive. The wars in Yemen, Syria, Afghanistan, Somalia should end with immediate effect. And we advise the government of those countries to cease fire now for peace to reign. We give the mutiny, unlawful, unpatriotic, insolent, undemocratic, and disloyal soldiers of Mali 7 clear days to immediately release the president of Mali and the prime minister of Mali, or else they will face the full wrath of all youths all over the world. As one youth organization will not tolerate any act of unlawlessness by any group of miscreants who want to acquire through undemocratic and unconstitutional means. We are in a sane and lawful society for crying out loud, where rules of law, equity and justice have to be strictly adhered to in order for peace and development to reign supreme in our world. World Youth Organization commends and supports the Economic Community of West African States for sanctioning Mali by stopping all domestic and international flights in and out of Mali. I urge the United Nations, international labour organizations, World Trade Organization, and other international organizations across the globe to immediately sanction the perpetrators of the political crisis currently ongoing in Mali and stop all supplies of goods and services to Mali until the duly constituted authorities of Mali are returned to their rightful offices. As youths, we want peace and not war, and so we say no to violence. We say no to armed conflict. We say no to war. We say no to undemocratic. Peace is the desire of every responsible citizen. Hence, if the wars continue, I repeat, if the wars continue, youth will be left with no choice than to step in and end the wars for peace to reign supreme. Youth anywhere in the world can be a positive force for development when provided with the right knowledge and opportunities they need to thrive. It is high time we look beyond our differences in order to exhilarate the entire world with the hope of peace, because it is by connectivity that you can have responsibility. My dear youths, what you do today will determine your tomorrow. Please endeavor to make sacrifices by giving up today's pleasure for tomorrow's treasure. Ensure you use your time, energy and resources to teach the rest of the world. For when you teach, you can never cheat, because cheaters are not teachers. My youth, when you give the world direction, you can never lose affection. Youths all over the world, with all you've heard from me today, if you fail, even the devil will mock you. Do you know why the devil will mock you? The devil will mock you because the devil knows that 90% of what I'm telling you today are parents who are successful, never had the opportunity to hear 1/10 of what I'm telling you today, but yet they are successful. So please, and please, take advantage of this moment to build your life to be a better citizen. In conclusion, I want to say to every youth all around the world that let us not forget the roles and responsibilities placed in our hands as nation builders. At this juncture, I urge each and every youth to shun violence and cultism and be law-abiding to duly constituted authorities all around the world. All youth should venture into legitimate jobs and businesses that will bring about financial satisfaction, because we are the engine room that drives any nation's economy, and we must rise up and achieve this obligation that society has placed in our hands. My beloved youth, don't ever forget that progress gives you experience. Experience gives you confidence. Confidence gives you determination. And determination gives you success. I repeat, progress gives you experience. Experience gives you confidence. Confidence gives you determination. And determination gives you success. Once again, happy International Youth Day to all youths all over the world. I love you. God bless you all.